Today's Sunday, July 10th. It's my actual first recording. Hi, I'm Yoga Gal. I do read energies tarot, chronicles. My story, everyone's always telling me I should write a book. So I said, yo, why not get creative and do something with the tarot cards? I made my own deck. I created my own deck full of some of my moments, my hijinks. And according to what I pull, I'll pull from the yin and yang deck. I'll see. It depends. Depending on the card that comes out in terms of the details of a little adventure I'll tell you today will determine what the deck I use is. Let's see. Continuing to shuffle. I'm going to tell you my journey, my spiritual journey. I'm a yoga instructor. Created my own kind of yoga. Just based on myself. Like I've said in my intro video, if you get a chance, check it out. It gives you a little background as to why I'm on YouTube, what I'm all about, who I am, and just a little bit of what you should expect, because I could be in my car, I could be traveling, a lot of different things. All right, my spirit guides are two friends of mine. Ironically, did not know each other, I don't believe, prior. A couple of them, but they rock with me heavy. These two, they do have the same initials, DB and DB. It's crazy, right? So the DBs are with me already today. I did a pre-shuffle and in the yin yang cards, and the first card that came out was spirit guides. So I knew that they were here. They let me know. They shouted themselves out. They're really pushy today, which is a weird thing because they're usually, you know, like riding my shoulders, but today they're really pushy. And then the next card out was hot. So I'm like, okay, Dex. Oh shit, I said his name. We're just gonna say Dex. He's the man of the DBs, of the two. And he was basically telling me that I look hot today. He's a former boyfriend, lover, what have you. Dex rocks with me so hard. And just some backstory on that, which is crazy. Now outside there's music, ironically. That's so weird. Outside, when I'm just about to tell you the story. Dexter died unexpectedly, and I was notified of his funeral by his wife, and I couldn't go. And I'm a person who believes in celebrating the life of someone, so I will attend the service or whatever. But when it came to Dex, I couldn't go, and I felt so guilty about not being able to go. And his funeral was on Easter. I don't even remember the year because I was so devastated. And I never really wanted to say goodbye. I couldn't see myself going to a funeral that had anything to do with Dex. And this is why, because he never really left me. I had no idea that we would be like fast forwarding to now, and he would be alive and well as one of my spirit guides, and like always rocking with me. He is my fierce protector. I'll take this time to do what I see all the other tarot readers do. Holy Spirit, Lord God Universe, that's my name for God. Please, bless me, continue to keep my protections up. Please cover in bright white light in your love anyone who watches this reading, anyone connected to me ever, past, present, future, lives, whatever. Ad infinitum, is it? Now, I pulled one card that came out particularly separate from the others, but a whole little stack of other cards came out. I'm just going to go with the one that flipped out on its own for today's session, today's chronicle, today's energies chronicle. I don't know, I'm still playing around with what's going to be called what. I half even know what the channel is going to be called. So if I'm on here today calling it something that it didn't wind up being called, just understand that it changed organically. So I'm going to read this card, which is so weird because I'm sitting here next to my bike, which I went back and forth like, do I take my bike out of the shot? So ironically, I pick a fucking card about my bike. See how pushy they are today? They made a fucking card come out about my bike to be funny. I don't even know if I'm gonna take this one, but let me read it. I don't remember what I wrote. Oh, this is crazy. It's insane. Okay. As I ride my bike, the wind ran through my hair. Life, the slick touch of a secret lover. I was intimate with the universe. Okay. I'm glad that they left this open. This card is very interesting because in terms of my life, I could really honestly discuss a couple of things. I think it's a Redman video where the chick is like on her bike, her hair is flipped, she is fly, and she's like riding down the street, and then she falls, busts her ass, and she's like on the back of a car. It was so funny, but it like sparked. I saw that shit on, I think, BET, some video show, not too long ago. Well, I mean, within the last maybe 7 years, and I was like, yo. The way the wind was blowing in her hair, I was like, yo, I think I'm going to get a bike. I want to ride a bike because maybe it'll help me get like my winter weight off. So I fluctuate in the winter. I'm sure most of you do, but it's like 10 to 15 pounds for me. So then I'm like, I ride my bike and, you know, try to really get into yoga. I don't do as much as I really should. So yoga will be a part of our regimen. If you're like down with the Chronicles and you find yourself tuning into me, you'll get little yoga tidbits. I am a yoga instructor, like I said already. But anyway, as I rode my bike, the wind ran through my hair like the slick touch of a secret lover. I was intimate with the universe. I got the bike. I started riding the bike in the park near my apartment, or one of my apartments. And I would ride in the, you know, early morning or right before the sun went down so that there was like an optimal breeze to go through my hair. And I do a lot of thinking when I'm riding my bike, just like I do a lot of thinking when I'm driving. It's a great thing. I'm going to be doing meditation exercises for when you're driving. Not like you're going to run up on a wall. I promise you, you can do two things at once. A lot of people find themselves in deep thought during drives. That is your meditation. And we'll discuss like incorporating things to actually get you to your goals or get you beyond the humps that are keeping you in this deep thought anyway. Anywho, back to the card. A lot of these bike rides that I take or took really cemented a lot of thoughts in my mind, or helped me work through a lot of things, or transported me to another place in time. I do a lot of timeline jumping, which people are really going to think I'm a weirdo. Those of you who are part of the community, whether you want to call it like spiritual people, the chosen ones, the elect ones, blah, 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 star seeds, light workers, the collective, you know what I mean, weirdos, whatever. Memories for me are really tactile, like they become really real. And this one reminds me of being in the Thai jungle on mountain bikes and riding like the tiny trails that they had on the resort, and feeling like the kiss of the Kwai, the river Kwai, like in the air and blowing through my hair and making my curls phenomenal. Even though it wasn't really humid, even it's the weirdest thing because Thailand is humid, but then again, it's not. I suffered through it. It was well into the hundreds, and I'm a fainter, and I never once felt faint. Oh my goodness, this is why, guys, I'm drinking coconut milk. Okay, not coconut milk, coconut water. Listen to me. I wanted to drink coffee. I was going to make another coffee. But the other DB, the girl spirit guy, I'm going to keep her name under wraps for as long as I can. It makes me emotional to speak her name amongst others. Female DB was like, yo, well, not yo. This is my translation of it, what I'm hearing in my head when she came through earlier. I had coconut milk and she's like, no, Tangie, don't drink that no more. Like, it's a diuretic, the caffeine, you need to hydrate and you're about to do a reading, so do the coconut water. Now I understand why she was saying the coconut water, because what I found out in Thailand, when we would go to monuments and everything, you can always buy the cracked open coconut, you know, where the coconut water is actually in it. They put the little straw and umbrella shit in it. It's gimmicky, but it works. So the entire time I was in Thailand, I think the temperatures were well over 100 degrees, but I was always drinking the pure coconut water, and I never so much as felt dizzy. I never overheated. I never fainted, which is odd because I'm a fainter. My family will tell you jokes and jokes on how I faint. But anyway, the coconut water. And Danielle was like, drink the coconut water. So I'm in total synchronicity here. Oh, wait, let me turn that around. It's just the sleeve that I'm using. That is crazy, right? The coconut water in Thailand. So, you know, ironically, what I believe was my part of my ascension initiation process. This is so crazy how they're tying this in, because I didn't know how to do it and not be complicated, and I picked this fucking card. I love y'all. I fucking love y'all. I love y'all so much. Y'all don't understand. I'm getting chills. My guides are so gangsta. Do you hear me? They gave me an organic way to go into my initiation, like my ascension, and how the world changed for me on vacation in Thailand with my dad. Okay, this is insane. The coconut water. After this mountain bike ride, I went back to my bungalow. I put on the TV. I guess I thought maybe I'll take a nap. I laid out on the bed. I was like totally sun-kissed. It was great. Great afternoon. So I laid, on the bed with my clothes on, just chilling, looking at the TV, the weird programs that were on the TV. And I thought, well, what I can say to you now, at some point, something happened that I thought was me falling asleep, but it was like my first real, astro travel, outer body experience, disassociative episode, ascension, initiation. I don't know, right? Everybody has their own journey and crazy shit that happens to them. All of you who have this has happened to you, you crossed over, what have you. You know what I'm talking about, that moment where shit got really strange. For me, it got so strange that this initiation, like this ceremony where my ancestors, my loved ones, embraced me and showed me what it really is, I forgot about it. Like what had happened to me, I spoke about it when I got back on U.S. turf in LA. We had all landed in LA. I was meeting my cousins there. I have a cousin who's a famous actor. I won't say his name. I'll just call him B. So B and his wife, Cuzzo, we met for dinner and some things, whatever. And I mentioned the experience, but after mentioning it there to my cousin, I forgot it. It's like it was wiped from my mind. Very weird, like Men in Blackish stuff. By the way, just before I started to live record, to record this, I was like situating the camera. I don't want too much of my background to show or whatever. And then the camera started recording, but the button wasn't pushed, but it was recording. And I'm looking, all of you who have an iPhone, you know, when you push record, the red circle becomes a red square. And then the countdown starts. So on my phone, the countdown started, but there was still a red circle at the bottom. So I'm like, oh, here we go with like fucking paranormal activity. So I'm like pushing it, thinking, well, obviously what am I trying to start the recording? It's already going, but it's not technically started on my apparatus. I used to think that it was like a haunted apartment. I feel like it follows me and devices, okay? Shout out. Hit me up in the email. Your crazy experiences with devices once you became, once you were ascended or whatever. This shit's like recording. I'm like, what the fuck? And then when I took it off the stand, it suddenly like went to lock screen and I began recording again. I know that you're here. You see what I mean about how pushy these DVs are today? Like, I'm like, I already acknowledge that you're here. Okay. They're just like, yo, today's read is going to be popping. They were basically excited, like jumping up and down saying, you're going to talk about your ascension process or your initiation. I'm going to give you a way to talk about it through this stupid ass coconut water. That, DB female was like, no, drink that. I insist. So I took the fucking coconut water out of the refrigerator. I only put it in the refrigerator before because I decided I didn't want to drink it. It made me feel full or something, my tummy. My belly. Anyway, for those of you who might just be tuning in, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm not live, but I'm just going to reiterate the card that I pulled because everybody says I should write a book. So we're talking tarot and we're talking about my life, my crazy adventures. I am like the freaking Sex in the City. Sex and the City? Forrest Gump. Okay? Like, seriously. Fall into adventures in the most vogue and fucking in fashion ways. It's like that for me. Crazy shit. Anyway, the card that I pulled in my own tarot deck of my own misadventures and adventures, was, as I rode my bike, the wind ran through my hair. Like the slick touch of a secret lover, I was intimate with the universe. After that bike ride, with the wind blowing through my curls in Thailand along the River Kwai, what I thought was a nap became an ascension. Like I left my body and suddenly I was no longer in my bungalow. I didn't even know where I was, but I knew that I was alive. I knew that I was awake. But then the first thing I said was, oh, am I dead? Because I could see, but everything was in darkness. But I knew that I had eyes, but I knew the eyes were so much more than just my eyes. Somebody chime in on this. It's like every sense I had was every part of my body. I knew everything around me. And as I knew that everything around me, I began to feel what was beneath me. This is so crazy. What was beneath me were like fingers with massive strength behind them. Like fingers. You know how we see all those mattress commercials where there's like cups or tiny things that all cradle your body? It was fingers of people holding me suspended in the silence. But it wasn't silence. It was like the best silence and sound I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, wait. That's why I was like, am I dead? Because I felt like this is heaven. And I'm having a thought process in this experience, which was weird because it's a consciousness that you've never experienced before. And in my thought process, I'm like, well, wait a minute. If this is heaven, why is there blackness instead of white light and all those things we imagine heaven to be? And then I just laid suspended, kind of like those magicians create that illusion with all these fingers holding me up. And I said, oh my God, you're all here. That's who you are. And I realized it was my ancestors, all of them, all of time, through forever, was a finger holding me up, suspending me, making me light as a feather, but solid as a rock. I never thought that was like a spiritual saying until now. Light as a feather, but solid as a rock. They held me, and I was like, oh my God, you're all here. All of them. Not only those who are my blood ancestry, but those who became family in many lifetimes and many representations of even myself. That's why I felt so present and so alive, because all of my pieces were back together. Y'all know what I'm saying. Who experienced your initiation. They gave me things that scared the shit out of me. I still don't even know what those things were, but I knew that something like was inside me more, coursing through every part of me, which I guess later I've done research. This would be a testament to maybe the first upgrade or changes in ascension to your DNA, with something so much more alive in me, but yet I wasn't in what I know to be my body. And it scared the shit out of me, so much so that I snapped out of wherever I was. It was like they just dropped me, like King Dakar. I had that moment of weightlessness, and I literally felt like I fell through the ceiling of the bungalow back into my body. And I sat up with my mouth open, the widest mouth I've ever experienced on my own body. Any of you, if you are an empath or you ever channel a spirit or whatever, an energy, when it leaves you and you open your mouth, it's just like they show on those fucking horror movies. Your mouth expands to a massive hole that you can't normally do to release that. Oh, that shit is heavy. Boom, and I'm in the bed, and suddenly I know that I'm sleeping, and then I'm already sitting up when I realize I'm awake. And I'm screaming. I can hear the sound, but as I come into my body, there is no sound, but my mouth is open. I'm calling my dad. I've never had to scream my dad's name in adulthood in the fashion that I did that day. But it was silent. And I literally had to return to my body to get up off that bed. I can't explain what kind of... It was like a fierce focus that started to push my essence back into my meat suit, if you know what I mean. Y'all know, if you astral travel or you know what this is I'm talking about. And so, y'all, I never thought I would talk about these things like this with the masses. I don't know who you are, but I know my energy is expansive. It's at least from Thailand to New York City to back to California. It doesn't really matter. I've circled the globe nearly already. So I'm ready to share that. It's so many souls I've crossed on the airline. My energy is everywhere. I'm already infinite regardless. So those of you who never understood why I travel, it was to spread my energy. I didn't even know why. That's why. Now, I'm screaming at my dad. I just stopped trying to make sound. And I got up and I opened the door and I said, I fucking hope the next time I try to use my voice and my mouth, it works. And I knocked on the door. My dad opened the door. Maybe he'll attest to this. I don't know if he would ever even watch YouTube. But I was like, Dad, did you hear me screaming for you? And he was like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, Francine, did you hear anything? Shit, I said my dad's girlfriend's name. Anyway, They didn't hear anything. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. My screen stayed silent because there was no cause for alarm and nobody needed to know. But anyway, when I did land in LA and we, met with family to eat and what have you, I talked about a weird experience like that and others. I have a cousin who's also seen a UFO. And no, he's a powerful attorney. He's not a nut. So, I just told you guys parts of that story. Later through time, fluidly, I guess, as I continue to do readings and like pull cards about my life story, I'll continue to talk about the energy of what I experienced. But this thing that happened to me in the Thai jungle, it was just incredible. It was amazing, and it started the spark of what's my spirituality, what's why I read tarot, what's how I'm a medium, who I am now on my journey, and how I decided to start this channel. Because just being weird is no longer enough. There's a method to it. There are gifts that I have. I can hear people, like hear their identities and their thoughts in this crazy way. And I used to think, like for me, that gift, and people would say, okay, yeah, sure, right. Like you're later on in your life. How the fuck do you go your whole life and be psychic and not realize it or whatever? Or be able, to be empathic and not realize it? It's because I thought I just had a really crazy active imagination. I thought that I would just, maybe it was something I learned as a child where when I was bored, because I was always bored, probably attention deficit. I don't know. Well, I'm slightly on the spectrum for ADHD. Not enough to get medication for. I heard those are fun. Anyway, I thought maybe in my childhood, being a gifted child, being a weirdo in the blooming, that it was just a part of my imagination, that I would just look at people and pretend who they may be. No, I was actually hearing who they really are, who they actually are. And it makes me offensive to some people. Because I really, even if they're saying one thing out of their mouth naturally, my responses and what comes out of my mouth, I'm responding to what they're really saying or what they're thinking, but not saying. So let's just hope you're really saying what you're thinking when you deal with me. People always wonder why I'm hostile, because I'm reading you and I'm mirroring you. I see your hostility. You think you're hiding it and you don't understand. You're like, this person couldn't possibly know what the fuck I'm thinking, so she's hostile. No, I know what you're thinking. I hear it out loud inside my head, my mind's eye, my third eye, whatever that shit is. And ironically, if you look at me right now, I'm looking in the camera. Can you see the light down the middle of my face and my forehead? Oh, my guides are on me today. They're letting me know. My mark of royalty. Do you see that on my forehead? Do you see that pyramid? That's who I am. Wow. You see it? In my bones. That's in my skull, that pyramid. I am of Egyptian descent. Even my Ancestry.com and my DNA, those modern tests you do now, you spit in a little spigot stick thing, sample taker, right back to Egypt, Ethiopia, Somalia, what is now United Emirates, and then to United States. I am truly East African from origin on my dad's side. I am Egyptian in my soul, but in my DNA as well, solid, authenticated. I was just late to catch up. The door opened for me to the magic. That's why I started looking real witchy and shit. It changes it changes you. You start looking crazy. Like I thought it was maybe like menopause or some shit, but I'm really witchy, I noticed. I'm very like gypsy-esque since I've learned more. But yeah, riding my bike through the wind, and I have a sensory experience. You guys, I'm gonna probably, I might ride my bike tonight, but I can promise you all, one of the things that I'm gonna do is try to like put together a meditation exercise. I'm gonna get on my bike. I have to see, I have a pump. I brought the bike from my other apartment in the Jeep, and the tires aren't. I have a pump in this apartment. I want to see if I could figure that out and pump up the wheels, because I would like to take you guys on a bike ride with me so we can discuss this card further. And I think from here on out, once I tell a story behind the card, I'm going to remove it from the master deck. So after the bike ride, we actually experience the wind in our hair, and we do a meditation exercise, and I say whatever comes to me naturally there, whether my guides are with me or not. It's so pushy today though. But I'll get on the bike and we'll ride, and we'll go through this exercise together and see what else comes up for my story. You could ride along with me and let me know what comes up for yours. Or if you never thought about riding your bike and you're looking at this recording from me, Energies Yoga Gal, and you know, hey, it might be really good for me to do that. Make sure you get your shit together. Get your little helmet, your bike, whatever. Borrow your friend's bike, your daughter's bike, whatever. And plan to do that shit for you. Like, come along with me on this bike ride. We'll cleanse our energy of some shit. And we'll continue to get into like the nitty gritties of my story. Because I'm sure I can go someplace else with this card before I retire it for real. Woo! But for now, it's leaving the deck. July 10th, y'all. Doing something different. And I hope that I could touch you with my energies. Next time we talk, it'll be this card, me with the bike, you with me along for the ride. Till then.